Las Vegas once called itself the entertainment capital of the world, a shimmering oasis in the desert where anyone could live like royalty for a weekend. Cheap rooms, cheap buffets, and the thrill of a fair gamble made it the ultimate playground for the everyday traveler. But in 2025, that dream has collapsed into something far darker. The same city that built its reputation on value and excess has turned into one of the biggest tourist traps in America, where every dollar feels stolen rather than spent. Imagine booking what looks like $150 a night room only to check out with a bill that could buy you a used car. Imagine shelling out $60 for a buffet where you bus your own table, or sitting down at a blackjack game where the odds are rigged before you even touch your chips. That's not entertainment, that's financial self-sabotage. And yet thousands still walk straight into the trap, thinking they're chasing a dream, while the casinos quietly laugh at their expense. The truth is simple: Vegas doesn't need you anymore, and it shows. In today's countdown, we're pulling back the neon curtain to expose the 7 brutal reasons why visiting Las Vegas in 2025 isn't just a bad idea. It's foolish. From soaring prices and disappearing service to unfair games, vanishing choices, and a city hollowing itself out. This is the harsh reality no casino wants you to hear. If there's one thing that shocks first-time visitors to Las Vegas in 2025, it isn't the flashing neon or the towering resorts, it's the bill. What used to be an affordable escape has spiraled into a money pit, where even the basics feel like a luxury splurge. The numbers don't lie. Average hotel rates on the Strip are now 24% higher than just a few years ago. Back in 2019, Vegas was boasting a 95% occupancy rate at prices that hovered around $100 to $150 a night. Today, occupancy has slipped to 85%, yet the rates have climbed, defying basic logic. How does a city with fewer guests and fewer available rooms, thanks to closures like the Mirage and the Tropicana, manage to charge more? The answer is simple: they know they can milk the visitors who still show up. It starts with the advertised price. You think you're booking a room for $150 a night? Reasonable enough, right? But by the time you check out, you've racked up a total that looks suspiciously close to a used car down payment. Resort fees? A scam once mocked but now normalized. Add another $40 to $55 per night, conveniently hidden until after you've booked. Parking fees. Expect another $18 to $40 a day, even if you're staying at the property. Renting a car is no better, with rates climbing 29% compared to just a few years ago. Every step of your trip feels engineered to bleed you dry. And then there's the food. Since 2015, dining costs in Las Vegas have exploded by a staggering 49%. That $20 buffet your parents raved about, it's now $60 to $100 per person. Even the so-called cheap eats-inside luxury resorts will run you $20 to $50 for something as simple as a sandwich or a slice of pizza. Stories of absurd price gouging are everywhere. $25 for cutlery at MGM properties, $30 for a coffee and bagel at Fontainebleau, $20 for a watered-down Red Bull and vodka on the Strip, $9 for a single bottle of Diet Pepsi. These aren't isolated ripoffs, they're the new normal. And thanks to social media, the outrage spreads faster than the casinos can bury it. TikTok and Reddit are filled with viral posts showcasing overpriced meals, sky-high drink tabs, and checkout receipts that make tourists swear they'll never return. The psychology behind this is brutal. Vegas was once about value wrapped in spectacle. You felt like you got more than what you paid for. Even if you lost on the casino floor, the cheap drinks and all-you-can-eat buffets softened the blow. Today, that illusion has been shattered. Instead of leaving with memories of fun, visitors leave with resentment, replaying every line item on their bloated bills. Why spend $500 on 2 nights in Vegas plus watered-down cocktails and a $60 early check-in fee when you can head to Reno Tahoe Phoenix or tribal casinos for better value and better odds? This shift is more than just sticker shock. It's a betrayal of what Las Vegas promised. The city that once sold dreams now sells resentment. And when people feel they've been conned, they don't just stay away, they tell everyone they know. for a city that lives or dies by its reputation that's poison. The price explosion isn't just gouging tourists in the moment, it's eroding the very trust that made Vegas a global destination in the first place. And yet the city hasn't hit bottom. Because if you thought the bills outside the casino were brutal, just wait until you step onto the gaming floor where the odds have been quietly tilted against you like never before. For decades, Las Vegas sold itself on one promise. Even if the odds weren't in your favor, you still had a fair shot. The magic of the Strip came from the idea that the everyday tourist could sit down with a $5 bill, order a cheap drink, and maybe walk away with a story worth telling. That illusion has now been dismantled piece by piece, and in 2025, the casino floor feels less like a playground and more like a rigged battlefield. Start with the backbone of Vegas gambling, blackjack. Once upon a time, $5 and $10 tables lined the Strip. Casual players could take a seat, enjoy the back and forth with a dealer, and stretch their money for hours. The standard 3-2 payout was the norm, giving players at least a fighting chance. But those days are gone. On the Strip today, finding a $25 minimum table is rare. The true 3-2 payout tables are almost extinct, hidden away in high roller rooms, where the minimum bet is often $100 per hand. For the average tourist, the only option left is 6-5 blackjack, a rule change that nearly triples the house edge. The game hasn't just become harder, it's become hostile. Roulette hasn't escaped either. The traditional single-zero wheel, already a rarity in the US, gave players decent odds. Even the more common double-zero wheel still left a sliver of hope. But now, casinos are rolling out triple-zero roulette like wildfire, where the house edge jumps to more than 7%. That's nearly double the disadvantage gamblers faced just a decade ago. To the casinos, it's free money. To the player, it's daylight robbery dressed up in neon lights. And then there's the creeping rise of automation. In the past, a blackjack dealer might crack a joke, offer encouragement, or explain the rules to a nervous tourist. That human connection softened the sting of losing and kept people coming back. But increasingly, live dealers are being replaced by digital terminals and hybrid games, where one employee oversees dozens of screens. The casinos love it: fewer salaries, fewer benefits, and a more efficient churn of wagers. But for players, the experience is cold, sterile, and one-sided. You're no longer playing against a dealer you can read or a table you can feel. You're playing against an algorithm that never blinks and never gives you a break. The consequences are glaring. Tourists don't leave the Strip telling stories of hot streaks or lucky nights. They leave bitter, convinced the games were rigged before they even began. The legendary phrase, "the house always wins," has shifted from a tongue-in-cheek acknowledgement of risk to a grim reality no one finds fun anymore. Because the truth is, the house doesn't just win, it wins faster, harder, and more unfairly than ever before. What made Las Vegas irresistible wasn't the guarantee of winning. It was the chance, however slim, that you could defy the odds. That sense of possibility was the soul of the city. Strip that away, and all that remains is a machine designed to extract money from anyone foolish enough to sit down. And here's the cruel irony: when gamblers start to believe they don't even have a chance, they don't just lose interest, they stop coming altogether. Vegas may have maximized its profit margins in the short term, but in doing so, it has killed the very dream that built its empire. And while unfair games sting the wallet, the next blow cuts deeper. Because what's disappearing in Las Vegas isn't just the odds, it's the people who once made the experience feel magical. Las Vegas didn't just build its brand on flashing lights and cheap thrills. What made it unforgettable was service. From the moment you stepped off the plane to the second you checked out, there was always someone ready to carry your bags, pour your drink, or make you feel like royalty, even if you were spending on a budget. That sense of over-the-top hospitality was the glue that held the illusion together. But in 2025, that illusion has been gutted. The city that once prided itself on world-class service has quietly dismantled it piece by piece. And the result is a customer experience that feels hollow, frustrating, and shockingly overpriced. It began with layoffs that barely made headlines but devastated the industry. Caesars Entertainment merged the roles of servers and bussers at its buffets, forcing many longtime employees to quit. Guests paying $60 to $100 per person for a buffet suddenly found themselves watching one exhausted worker juggle clearing plates, refilling drinks, and taking orders. The chaos wasn't just obvious, it was insulting. Then came MGM Resorts International, which made an even bigger cut. Entire bell desks disappeared at properties like Excalibur. Guests who once expected a warm greeting and help with their luggage were left dragging their own bags through sprawling casino floors. MGM also gutted its concierge departments, replacing human expertise with impersonal chatbots, unless you were a high roller. Other resorts followed suit. At Resorts World, layoffs swept through key service departments. At Fontainebleau, dealers were escorted out the door by security guards as if loyal employees were criminals. The message was clear in the new Vegas service: expendable profits are not. The ripple effects are everywhere. Guests report long waits for housekeeping, understaffed restaurants, and front desks that feel more like DMV counters than luxury hotels. Imagine paying $500 a night only to spend half your stay begging an app for basic assistance. That isn't luxury, it's a scam. The damage goes far beyond inconvenienced tourists. For decades, hospitality jobs were the backbone of the Las Vegas middle class. Bellhop servers, housekeepers, and dealers built stable lives and supported families on these careers. But when corporations slash staff and replace them with algorithms, it isn't just the service that disappears. Entire communities begin to hollow out. Fewer jobs mean fewer locals with disposable income, which means fewer dollars circulating back into the local economy. The very lifeline that kept Las Vegas thriving is being cut in pursuit of short-term savings. Tourists feel it too. One of the biggest selling points of Vegas was that you could feel like a high roller even if you weren't one. The staff made you feel special whether you were betting $5 on blackjack or splurging on a steak dinner. Today, that magic is gone. Instead of attentive staff, guests encounter burned-out employees stretched to their limits, or faceless digital kiosks that reduce the experience to a transaction. It's no wonder so many visitors walk away furious, telling their friends and followers that Las Vegas isn't worth the money anymore. Service wasn't just a perk, it was the soul of the city. By gutting it, the casinos have stripped away the very thing that turned ordinary vacations into unforgettable memories. And here's the cruel irony: when you cut service, you don't just cut costs, you cut loyalty. Because no one wants to return to a place that makes them feel cheated. And while service collapses inside the resorts, something else is disappearing outside, the very choices that once made Las Vegas feel limitless. If service cuts feel like a slap in the face, the disappearance of choices in Las Vegas feels like a gut punch. This city was once defined by abundance. Buffets that stretched the length of a football field, quirky shows you could stumble into for $20, and an endless lineup of dining options that catered to every budget. It was that sheer variety, the sense that anyone could find something for themselves, that gave Vegas its magic. But in 2025, that magic is gone. What remains is a hollowed-out, standardized version of the Strip, where every option seems engineered to squeeze you for more money while giving you less. Take the buffets. For decades, they were the beating heart of the Vegas experience. Prime rib crab legs, overflowing dessert stations, it was all part of the ritual. But today, most buffets have vanished. The few that survive have morphed into mega buffets, charging $60 to $100 per person, with limited hours and fewer offerings. Dinner service, once a staple, has been cut back. Instead of variety, visitors get repetition, and instead of value, they get sticker shock. To fill the void, casinos now promote modern food halls, which sound trendy but are nothing more than overpriced food courts. Every stall charges $20 to $50 for a single meal, and the experience is about as memorable as a mall lunch break. Entertainment, too, has suffered a similar fate. Once Las Vegas was home to hundreds of small and mid-tier shows that gave the city its charm. You could see the Mac King comedy show for $5 with a coupon, or catch a magic act for under $30. Those days are over. Today, the small shows have disappeared, swallowed up by the dominance of big-name headliners and blockbuster productions. Want to see Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, or Cirque du Soleil and expect to pay $150 to $300 per ticket. Bringing a family of 4, that's $600 before you've even ordered a drink. Entertainment has shifted from spontaneous fun to a luxury purchase only a few can afford. And the nightlife that once pulsed with competition, it's been consolidated into a handful of mega clubs where $500 bottle service is the price of admission to sit at a table. For young travelers who once came to Vegas for cheap thrills and wild nights, the new reality feels more like an exclusive VIP trap than a playground for all. This matters because choice was the engine that powered Vegas. Families could plan their trips around their budgets. Couples could splurge one night and save the next. Retirees could wander into a lounge and catch a show without breaking the bank. That freedom made the city exciting and unpredictable. But now, spontaneity has been replaced by suffocating uniformity. Every decision feels prepackaged, controlled, and overpriced. The tragedy is that Las Vegas has always thrived on its ability to reinvent itself. From Rat Pack lounges to Cirque extravaganzas, from shrimp cocktails to Michelin-starred dining, reinvention was constant. But what's happening today isn't reinvention, it's contraction. The Strip isn't offering more, it's offering less at higher prices. And tourists are noticing. Social media is filled with complaints from visitors who came expecting variety, but left feeling they were funneled into the same overpriced experiences as everyone else. Vegas used to have something for everyone. In 2025, it feels like it only has something for one type of visitor, the ultra-rich. And when the middle-class tourists who once packed the Strip stop, the economic cracks start to widen fast. Which brings us to the next problem. The math behind modern Las Vegas doesn't add up, and the reckoning is already here. Las Vegas was built on a simple formula: lure tourists with cheap rooms and cheap food, then make profits on the casino floor. It was a strategy so effective that the city became a global icon, attracting nearly 40 million visitors a year. But in 2025, that formula has been turned upside down. The Strip now demands luxury prices while offering cut-rate service, and the numbers prove the system is starting to collapse. Look at the hotels. In 2019, Las Vegas ran at an astonishing 95% occupancy rate, with average rooms priced around $100 to $150. Fast forward to today, occupancy has dropped to 85%, even though the supply of rooms has shrunk thanks to closures like the Mirage and the demolition of the Tropicana. By basic economics, fewer rooms should mean higher occupancy, but instead the city is charging 26% more per stay and still losing guests. That's not strategy, that's desperation. The same imbalance shows up in dining. Food prices are up 49% since 2015, and viral posts about $30 bagels and $9 sodas spread across TikTok and Reddit daily. Instead of enticing visitors, these horror stories repel them. Every time a tourist shares a photo of a $60 buffet line or a $20 cocktail, dozens of potential travelers scratch Vegas off their list. The bad press multiplies, fueling a cycle of declining demand that no marketing campaign can fix. So, what do the casinos do? They double down on gouging. With fewer guests filling the hotels, management hikes prices even higher to squeeze more from the ones who remain. But that only accelerates the downward spiral. Fewer guests mean higher prices mean fewer guests. It's the classic death loop of a brand that has forgotten what made it strong in the first place: value. International visitors, once a steady pillar of Strip traffic, are vanishing. Domestic travelers, tired of being fleeced, are turning to Reno, Tahoe, Phoenix, or tribal casinos, where the odds are fairer and the costs lower. Even regional casinos in the Midwest are pulling in crowds that might have once flown to Nevada. The competition is fierce, and Las Vegas is losing ground. At its core, the Strip is defying the laws of economics. You cannot endlessly raise prices while diminishing service and expect loyalty. Eventually, consumers walk away. And that's exactly what's happening now. Tourists aren't just skipping Vegas, they're telling everyone else to skip it too. But the fallout of this economic miscalculation doesn't stop at the balance sheets of MGM Caesars or Wynn. It spills into the streets of Las Vegas itself, creating a social crisis the neon lights can't cover up. And when you see what's happening beyond the Strip, the picture of a city in decline becomes impossible to ignore. Behind the dazzling Strip and endless Instagram reels, the reality of Las Vegas in 2025 is far grimmer than the marketing brochures suggest. Tourists may complain about high prices and unfair games, but locals are living through the real fallout. The city that once promised opportunity is now buckling under the weight of its own decisions, and the human cost is becoming impossible to ignore. Start with homelessness. Just a few blocks away from billion-dollar resorts encampments sprawl under overpasses and in vacant lots. The homeless population has surged past 6,500, one of the highest per capita rates in the United States. Unlike in the past, many of these people aren't transients passing through. They're former casino workers, housekeepers, servers, or bartenders who lost their jobs in the wave of layoffs. With average rents climbing past $1,500 for a one-bedroom apartment, survival has become a gamble many can't win. When unemployment checks barely cover groceries, shelter becomes an impossible luxury. The ripple effects don't stop there. Crime is rising, fueled by desperation. According to the FBI, Las Vegas ranks in the top 20% of U.S. metros for violent crime. Tourists increasingly report theft scams and aggressive hustles in areas once considered safe. Pedestrian bridges along the Strip have turned into gauntlets where fake monks, pushy performers, and opportunistic scammers harass visitors for cash. For families spending thousands on a dream vacation, being hassled on the street or witnessing assaults just outside luxury casinos is more than jarring, it's a deal breaker. The irony couldn't be sharper. The very industry that built Las Vegas, the casino resort machine, has helped create this social unraveling. By slashing jobs, raising prices, and cutting service, corporations have widened the gap between what locals earn and what it takes to survive. Workers who once carved out stable middle-class lives now find themselves teetering on the edge, forced to choose between rent and food. Entire neighborhoods that thrived on steady casino wages are hollowing out. For tourists, this collapse creates a disturbing contrast. One moment you're paying $20 for a watered-down cocktail at Caesar's Palace, and the next, you step outside to see someone begging for spare change on the same block. That's not escapism, it's dystopia. Instead of leaving with memories of glamour and fun, visitors leave haunted by the sight of a city failing its own people. And when those stories spread, Las Vegas loses more than money. It loses its identity. The truth is clear. A destination built on spectacle cannot survive if its foundation is rotting. And while the social fallout is devastating, the final blow may be even more chilling. Because what's replacing people on the casino floor isn't just underpaid workers or frustrated locals, it's machines. If there was ever one ingredient that made Las Vegas irresistible, it wasn't just the flashing lights, the endless drinks, or the spectacle of the Strip. It was the people. The blackjack dealer who gave you a wink when the cards were hot. The craps table that erupted in laughter after a big roll, the cocktail server who made you feel like the most important person in the room, even if you were only betting $5. That human touch was the magic dust that kept visitors coming back year after year. But in 2025, that magic is being erased in the name of efficiency. Casinos are replacing live dealers with automated terminals and hybrid games. Instead of 4 dealers running 4 roulette tables, one employee now oversees dozens of digital kiosks where players stare at screens rather than interact with each other. On paper, it's a cost-saving dream. Fewer salaries, fewer benefits, and no breaks. For management, it's perfect. For players, it's soulless. The atmosphere feels sterile, the camaraderie vanishes, and the experience collapses into something indistinguishable from feeding money into a glorified slot machine. The consequences extend beyond the mood on the casino floor. Dealers were never just there to shuffle cards. They explained the rules to newcomers, slowed the pace for casual gamblers, and provided a sense of fairness that made losing tolerable. With robots, the opposite is true. The pace is relentless. Mistakes aren't forgiven. Odds are subtly tweaked in ways that most players don't even notice until it's too late. The entire setup screams extraction, not entertainment. And then there's the human cost. For decades, dealing was a stable, respectable career in Las Vegas. Thousands of families were supported by those wages. But as robots replace humans, those jobs vanish. Neighborhoods that once thrived on casino paychecks are hollowing out, and the ripple effect is devastating. With every replaced dealer comes another household struggling to make rent, another family teetering on the edge. For visitors, the change feels like betrayal. Imagine flying across the country paying $300 a night plus $50 in resort fees, only to sit at a screen pretending to play blackjack against a dealer who barely acknowledges you. That isn't Vegas, that's an airport terminal with neon lights. The city that once prided itself on creating memories now feels like it's running on autopilot, squeezing every last cent from tourists while offering nothing in return. Las Vegas didn't lose its soul overnight. It sold it piece by piece to the highest bidder. And with every table that replaces a human being, the illusion crumbles further. The question now isn't whether the house always wins, it's whether the house has already lost the one thing that made people want to play in the first place. So what's left of Las Vegas in 2025? A city once built on spectacle, value, and the thrill of possibility has transformed into a machine designed to drain wallets while offering less and less in return. Prices have skyrocketed, games have been tilted, service has been gutted, choices have shrunk, the economics no longer add up. Locals are suffering, and even the casino floors have gone cold as robots replace people. The Strip still glows with neon, but behind the lights, the city is unrecognizable. For decades, Las Vegas thrived because it made the ordinary traveler feel extraordinary. Whether you were a middle-class family from Ohio, a couple looking for adventure, or a retiree chasing a little fun, Vegas promised that you could afford to live big for a few days. That illusion was the city's lifeblood. But by selling off the very things that made it special, Las Vegas has turned itself into an overpriced theme park that caters to the wealthy while alienating everyone else. The bigger question is whether it can come back. Can Vegas return to its roots with cheap rooms, fair games, and hospitality that makes every guest feel like a high roller? Or has the city crossed a point of no return, trading its magic for corporate profits and short-term gains? The answer isn't clear yet, but what is clear is this: visiting Las Vegas in its current state isn't just a bad decision, it's a fool's errand. Until the city finds its soul again, there are far better places to spend your money and make memories. What do you think? Can Vegas recover, or is the dream gone for good? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more investigations into America's vanishing icons.